Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful Victoria here in Western Canada. If any of you took that advice from last class and watched an episode of Sea Wolves, you will have an idea of what the surrounding nature is like. Welcome Fuong, High Slow Sunset Vibes. Yanni, nice to see our members in the class. Welcome Carolina, our chat moderator. This is a members chat class. Everybody is welcome to watch, of course. There's lots of learning to be had. To become a member of our channel, click the join button next to the subscribe button on the channel, and definitely subscribe to the channel so that you know when all of the live classes are happening, including the all chat classes, the subscriber chat classes. So make sure to join us regularly and improve your English. Students, this class will be a reading session, and it's going to be an interesting topic about the Portuguese man of war. What is that? Well, you will soon learn and find out. In IELTS reading, especially the academic reading, but also in the general reading section 3, you're often presented with some interesting new information. They are testing to see how well you can read kind of unique or original information on the IELTS and interpret and answer the questions. The goal here is to teach you the strategies, basically the thinking, so that you don't get nervous and stressed about understanding new information in English. This material, this reading passage, is coming from aehelp.com. That's our website which we use for these live classes. It has all of our practice exams, audio materials, videos. For general IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com. So for those of you who join us regularly, I strongly recommend using our premium IELTS package on our website so that you can learn on and offline with our materials. Click this big red button that's just right above my head there. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. Doesn't cost a lot of money. We're an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner, IELTS Test Registration Center. I'm a certified British Council agent, so you're definitely in the right place for your learning. For the general, it's the green background at gieltshelp.com, and you can click that big red button there. Again, we've got a new video out, everybody. I wonder if anybody has seen that. We just released it 30 minutes ago, so it's hot off the press. Here's an interesting idiom for everybody. I'll put that into our notes here. So we just released a new video and it's hot off the press. Hot off the press means it's brand new. It's an idiom for you here. Hot off the press. Of course, that's kind of like when they have a newspaper that's just printed and it was kind of hot to the touch. Hot off the press, it means it is brand new. By the way, students, feel free to practice your speaking while we're doing this class as well. So anytime I give you new information, vocabulary, idioms, make sure to stop for a second and repeat. Here, the idiom that I'm teaching you is hot off the press. It means it is brand new. Video, and it's a speaking video, so check that out on the channel when you have a chance. It's a practice video, karaoke style. Hey Eldho, there it is. I put it into the chat. Sorry, you can't see the URL there. There it is. So it's a brand new video. Again, subscribe to the channel so you know when all of these videos are being released, and you can get all of these videos without ads. Of course, complete versions on the websites. And on that video, there's a new discount code for the websites. That discount code is many10. You'll see why when you watch the video, why it's called many10. So when you're on the websites, you can use that discount code by clicking the join now and then click here to enter code, and many 10. I'll give you another 10% off that one-time purchase. So check that out. And then you are golden. You're ready to learn and follow the classes. Yeah, of course we have apps, everybody. The apps are Academic IELTS Help for Academic and General IELTS Help for General. Get those from your app stores. They link to the websites. Instagram is IELTS_AE Help. By the way, those of you who are using the websites, if you're having any difficulty, it's because Google has done a lot of updates to apps in the last couple of months with their billing libraries and all kinds of different updates with packaging and everything. So it's not just our app, but other apps as well. So companies are working really hard to catch up to all of Google's app changes. All right. Yeah, that's right. Sunset Vibes. Sunset Vibes says, trying to assess how well you read topics you may not be interested in. Not really, Slow Sunset Vibes. So I think IELTS tries to create topics that are interesting for most people. And it's really important that you think about the topics in the IELTS reading as interesting, as exciting, because when you think about information as interesting, exciting information, it becomes easier to understand and process. So no matter what you're reading about, whether it's music or farming or space or some animal, try to really think, okay, hey, this could be really interesting for me. Okay, so think about it that way. Viewers, if you want to send me a question, by all means, my email is adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. Both of those will reach me or one of my colleagues. There's writing and speaking help on the websites. Our books are on Amazon, and our schedules are on Instagram and on YouTube. You can check those out. Right now we have reading. Then after this class, we'll have listening, part 3 and 4 for subscribers. So again, definitely subscribe to the channel. And then tomorrow we'll have speaking part 2 and speaking part 3 for everyone. So speaking coming up. And then on Sunday, we'll have a Lighthall full speaking interview. These are usually smaller classes, fewer students. It will be a 2-hour class, and this one is a $10 registration fee, but I think definitely worth it. So here's the actual URL in the chat. Check that out, register. I think it's a great way to spend a couple hours of your Sunday. You might agree, might not, but it's definitely good learning. All right, everybody. So here we go with reading and reading strategies. Let me give you a couple of quick tips right away, and then we will get into our reading. Okay. All right. Yeah, Aldo, if you're having trouble, let me know. Let me know what's going on with the website. Maybe I can give you some suggestions. And you can definitely send your speaking part 2 through email by recording. Okay, reading strategies. Tip 1, read the title and infer the information. Infer is a fancy way to predict using logic. Okay, that's what infer means. Read the title and infer the information, especially when it's new or unfamiliar. Okay, and ironically, that's when a lot of people rush because they think, oh, this is a difficult reading. I need to read, and skim. No. Big no. When you are looking at new information, that is the worst time to skim read because then it will all just become a jungle of nonsense. So especially when you see unfamiliar information, that's when you want to take a deep breath, read the title, pay attention to the picture if you have one, and really predict and understand. Otherwise, it will seem like an impossible task. Okay, so tip 1 is read the title, infer, and then tip 2 is read paragraph by paragraph. Visualizing the information and asking what it is about. All right. So here we go, students. Let's take a look at today's reading passage. This is coming from our first exam book for those of you who have it, and it is passage 3. So you don't see that very top part, but this is on page 138. Again, on our websites, when you have the premium package, you have all of these exams in the academic version. So this is page 138. And we have an interesting looking picture here. We have this creature here. What is this creature? Anybody, what is this creature? What are we looking at? So this is the creature right here. What is it? A picture is worth 1,000 words. That's another expression. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So look at the picture, definitely. Fong says it's a jellyfish. Yanni says a jellyfish. Chen says maybe it's a jellyfish. Well, if 3 of you think it's a jellyfish, you're probably close. Even if you're not perfectly accurate, you're probably close to what that is. Okay, so yeah, let's say it's a jellyfish. I like jellyfish. I don't know about you, but I know people are kind of scared of them, but I like jellyfish. Okay, so it's a jellyfish. Okay. So here, again, when you're in the real IELTS exam, you look at it and you go, okay, that's a strange looking jellyfish. So what could this passage be about? Obviously, this strange looking jellyfish. You can see the title of the passage as well. Physalia physalis. Okay, so obviously that's kind of the name of this jellyfish. Okay, now every now and then IELTS definitely includes an animal as the topic. Okay, if you look at our exams, I think you see it a couple of times. There's a passage about tigers. There's this one about the Physalia physalis. If you sat the IELTS a few times, there's a good chance that you came across a reading passage that was about some kind of animal. Of course, because biology, right? Biology is an important science, and many people take up professions in biology, like nursing, for example, or becoming a doctor, zoologist, and so forth. And so learning about biology, anatomy, animals is a good skill. It's an important one for many people. So it's no surprise that IELTS likes to present this biology type of topic. Okay. So here we've got an animal. Okay, animal, jellyfish. All right. When you have some kind of jellyfish, what kind of information do you think will be included in the passage? So, what information is typical for an author to include when the topic is an animal? And IELTS is pretty standard, so they follow kind of a standard structure or content in this sense. So Slow Sunset's Vibe says it's habitat. Yeah, for sure, it's habitat. So habitat means where it lives. Yeah, absolutely, right? Where does this creature live? That makes sense. Its characteristics, sure. So let's say behavior. Let's try to be more specific, Vibes. Okay. So it's behavior. So what it does to live and survive, right? All right. What else? What else do you think? So think about it. If you're writing an article, a short article that's 2 pages about some animal, what do you include? So you include where it lives, what it does to live and survive. What else would you include? There's a couple more points that you would include, I think. It's typical. Think typical. Even like thinking about documentary movies, so nature shows. There's so many beautiful nature shows, like Seawolves. You almost think we're promoting it, but it's not, we're not, unfortunately, affiliated with Netflix. But yeah, so you would include its habitat, its behavior. Yanni says, yeah, how they breed, so reproduction, yeah. So the way they reproduce. Yeah, that's part of the behavior, but certainly it's an interesting one. Sunset Vibe says if it's dangerous in any way, instead of like just thinking about if it's dangerous in any way, probably what is interesting or unique, right? So humans really like to read about the interesting, unique features. So dangerous, strange, fast, right? Reading about the cheetah, the fast cheetah, right? So dangerous, strange, fast, smart. So some unique feature of the animal, right? Okay. Yeah, Chen says physical structure. Chen, I think the word that you're looking for is anatomy, right? The physical structure. Right. So think about it that way, because there's a very good chance that each of these might be a paragraph, okay? All right, so habitat, again, repeat after me, students. Habitat, behavior, reproduction, unique features, anatomy. Okay, so all of those, right, are likely to be included. Okay, and then visualize it. Animals are very visual, so make sure to visualize the paragraph. Okay, see it. That's why they're giving you a picture. Very often when they write about an animal, or you read about an animal, you will see a picture of that animal. Okay. Hi, Romelia. This is the animal that we're looking at. Let's read. And don't worry about understanding everything. Don't worry about difficult words. Just read. Just do your best reading. So we're going to read together with a native British speaker, and then we're going to do some reading as a group. Okay. So this is good reading practice. Students, read aloud whenever you have the chance. I keep reminding you of this, but it's very important, okay? Especially for language learning. So read aloud for pronunciation, speaking, multiple sensory integration. When you read aloud, you use your ears, your eyes, your mouth, your muscles together. It's called multiple sensory integration. It's really effective for learning, okay, especially another language. So make sure to read aloud. Aloud means with a loud voice, okay? Everybody reads aloud in English at least a couple times a week. Romelia, yes. Domenico, please tell me you do. Chen, I have a feeling you do. Yanni, everybody reads aloud. Sensory integration means you're using your senses together. Your senses are your eyes, sight, touch, right? And tongue is moving. and your ears, your auditory, your ears are hearing, right? Smell. Maybe you can smell that jellyfish. So that's called multiple sensory integration. You put your senses together. The brain is much more lit up and working, okay? Romelia says, I love the British accent and I practice it regularly. Domenico says, yes, I'm used to reading aloud, sir. Fantastic. Yes, reading aloud is very important when learning another language. Good. Happy to hear it. Okay, everybody. So this passage, again, in our full course, when you have all of our practice exams, it tells you that this is CD3, track 7 on the website. So we go to aehelp.com. We get into our My Student account. We open up the audio CDs, which is the 5th tab. And then CD 3, because it's the 3rd exam, and it's reading passage 3, so it's track 7, I believe here. Let's just check. We'll get reading, and again, read with this British person. That's why we recorded all of this audio and included it for you, okay?
Physalia physalis.
Okay, everybody's ready, right? Physalia physalis. Here we go, everyone.
Physalia physalis, common name, Portuguese man-of-war, is a unique species of the class Hydrozoa. Several characteristics distinguish this species. The Physalia physalis is a free-floating communal polyp. Its powerful poison serves as defense and attack for the species. One type of fish, however, has developed a high level of immunity to this toxin, the Nomius gronvoi. The Nomius gronvoi is capable of withstanding injections of Physalia venom 10 times the normal strength of that which kills other fishes. Due to this resistance to the venom and exceptional swimming, the two organisms have evolved to form a commensal relationship with one another. Even though we apply the term commensalism to the symbiosis between these two animals, the nature of interaction is not exactly fitting of the term. As defined by Campbell and Rees, commensalism is when one organism receives benefits while neither harming nor helping the other in any significant way. Campbell and Rees, 2002. By looking closely at the behaviour, physiology and symbiosis between Physalia physalis and Nomius gronvoi, we find out the reason for this misleading terminology. The physiology of Physalia physalis is unique. At first glance, they appear to be jellyfish, but the Portuguese man-of-war is actually a polyp, or community of polyps belonging to the order Siphonophora, which gets its common name from its resemblance to an old Portuguese warship. The man-of-war floats with a gas-filled, blue to pink translucent body called a pneumatophore, a part of a single polyp. This crest-like pneumatophore, which may attain a length of 20 centimetres, acts as a sail and is aligned so that the colony sails at 45 degrees to the wind direction. Polyps connect tentacles which are located on the ventral surface of the float. There are 3 types of specialised polyps: dactylozoid, that find and catch prey with poisonous stingers called nematocysts, gonozoids, that reproduce, and gastrozoids, that digest the food like a stomach. These fishing tentacles, sometimes as long as 50 metres, hang down like a drift net, combing the water for prey. Nomius gronvoi are tropical fish belonging to the ray-finned fishes of the class Osteichthyes. The fins, supported by long flexible rays, are modified for manoeuvring, defence and other functions. The length of this fish at maturity is about 8 centimetres. The nature of the ability of Nomius to live among the venomous tentacles of Physalia has been likened to that of the relationship between sea anemones and anemone fishes. This immunity is not yet fully understood. The relationship between Physalia and Nomius is arguably harmful to both organisms. They mutually benefit from one another, but at the same time, the symbiosis can be quite damaging to both creatures. In this sense, the relationship could be better defined as one of mutualism and parasitism. In mutualism, both organisms benefit. In parasitism, one organism benefits at the expense of the host. When the nomeus is weak, it may no longer be able to withstand the venom of the nematocysts. In one study, a freshly expired nomeus was offered to the Physalia. The carcass was immediately stung, taken hold of by a dactylozooid, and brought up to the gastrozooids. The nomeus, although resilient to the toxin, is not 100% immune. In the same study, the live nomeus began to swim more erratically and move towards the carcass as the gastrozooids formed their characteristic bag and began to digest the fish. The live nomeus was then caught on the left side by one of the largest dactylozooids. This behaviour clearly indicates how the symbiosis may deviate from the definition provided by commensalism. On the other hand, the nomeus has two distinct gains from its innate behaviour with Physalia. As an experiment demonstrated, upon introduction, the nomeus initially swam near the surface and around the Physalia in a large circular pattern, in both clockwise and counterclockwise directions. This action protects the fish from attack. Most predatory fishes of nomeus therefore avoid the man-of-war or sustain serious injury and often death. Second, the Physalia provides a food source for the nomeus. In the mentioned experiment, about 15 minutes after the release, the nomeus swam closer to the Physalia, paused as if inspecting it, and then began to nip the edges of the gonozooids. Physalia is able to regenerate the tentacles, and so this ingestion is rarely fatal to the organism. Nomeus's capacity to survive near the poison tentacles of the man-of-war is only partly due to the resilience of the toxin. The main reason for this skill is certain swimming behaviours. Instead of developing protective mucus, the fish depends on its swimming abilities as its main mechanism of defence, while living in the venomous discharge of the Physalia. The nomeus fish can manoeuvre with precision to avoid stinging nematocysts. This is the case whether the Physalia is stationary or in motion. Ray-finned fishes have a physiology which enables manoeuvrability. The fish displays relative ease in maintaining a safe distance from the dactylozooids, even with absurd, sharp changes in direction. Nomeus specimens use the pectoral fins for propulsion, while the pelvic fins are spread like a fan. The caudal fin is apparently used only for short, fast darts. This swimming behaviour appears to be well suited for existence with Physalia. It is therefore apparent that rather than developing an ability to inhibit the discharge of Physalia nematocysts or prevent them from stinging, Nomeus uses its swimming abilities as its primary means of defence while living in the venomous driftnet of Physalia. Taking into consideration all of the interactions involved in the symbiotic relationship of these two organisms, the appropriate term to assign is difficult. The facts state that commensalism of these two aquatic creatures is one which incorporates beneficial as well as harmful factors depending on the circumstance. It is this alternation of prey-predator roles of Physalia and Nomeus that creates a definitive difficulty. Perhaps the best term we can apply for the moment is that of commensalism, given that both animals receive some benefit at various times during the relationship.
All right, and that is a load of information about the Physalia physalis. All right, students, how did you find that? Difficult, not so bad? You were able to mostly understand it, visualize it. It's a lot of technical terms, a lot of Latin terms, and of course, when you're reading about biology, it's not a surprise. And if some of you are thinking, whoa, really? IELTS will do this? Yes, absolutely. If you're doing the academic IELTS, then be prepared that you could get a passage of this length and difficulty in part 3. Okay, Domenico says, I'm a marine biologist. So Domenico, this is right up your alley. For you, this would be like, woohoo, great, interesting, and in my neck of the woods, right? Yeah, Slow Sunset Vibe says the technical jargon is difficult to read aloud, but other than that, it's good. Yeah, and Domenico, Sunset Vibes, here's a good tip about that, okay? So when you're reading in the IELTS, okay, this is tip number 3 of the day. So when you're reading in the IELTS, don't worry about words that seem awkward to pronounce. Don't try to pronounce them correctly. Okay, so tip 3, just read through words that are tricky to pronounce. Do not get stuck on them, because that will break your concentration and flow of information. Okay, so definitely just read through it, okay? Whatever way you pronounce it, it's fine. Nobody is going to check your pronunciation for physalia, physalis, or nematosis, okay? All right, so members, we're going to work together here to understand this passage, answer the questions. I will show you some strategies for answering the questions once we get there. But before we do that, I want to actually do some reading practice with you. So go to the website, log in, okay? Again, for those watching, if you'd like to become a member and join our premium course, it's a good idea. You can do that by clicking this big red button at aehelp.com. Okay, again, that's aehelp.com. I'll put it into the chat. And then once you're there, you go to your My Student account. And we're going to use the Student Partner Speaking here, this one. Okay, again, exactly what we use for the speaking classes. So Student Partner Speaking, and then members, I will be looking for you for reading. Okay, so don't be shy, read and volunteer. Okay. Here we go. Let me just click on that. That will open up our chat resource. We've got Diane Hussein Romelia, I see you in there. Nishant Masala, Javidan, Hem, Anaditya Jaoyani, Domenico. Nice to see students using the chat to practice their IELTS speaking. That's great. All right. And of course, I'm looking for members firstly. So there's Romelia and Masala as well. Okay, if you're a member, let me know. If you're not communicating in the chat, please send me a message and say, hey, I'm a member, I just haven't been chatting. Okay, so join the chat. Yanni, I see you as well. All right, let's give Romelia the first turn, and then we'll look at some other members. All right, here we go. So Romelia, are you ready? Perfect.
Hello.
Hi, Romelia. How are you?
Not bad, thank you.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm better and better each day, finally getting
Me
to the
too.
end of this.
Recovering after the cold, the flu, and whatever it is.
We don't even know anymore these days. We're all confused. Yes, I remember you said you were in the UK and the British weather got you.
British weather, exactly.
Yes. And have you ever had an encounter with a jellyfish?
I wouldn't say no.
No jellyfish encounters? Because, I mean, if you ever visit Portugal, then you might find one of these jellyfish. All right, Romelia, well, let's do some reading. And then after you read a paragraph, we'll have a brief discussion about it, okay?
Okay.
All right, so you should see it on the screen now. Go for it. Whenever you're ready, read the title and start reading the first paragraph.
Let me check if I can see.
Okay.
No. Oh, right now. Yeah. Physalia physalia, common name Portuguese man-of-war, is a unique species of the class Hydrozoa. Several characteristics distinguish the species. The Physalia physalia is a free-floating communal polyp. Its powerful poison serves as defense and attack for the species. One type of fish, however, has developed a high level of immunity to his toxin. The numerous crownbee is capable of withstanding injection of Physalia venom 10 times the normal strength of that which kills other fish. Due to this resistance to the venom and exceptional swimming, the two organisms have evolved to form a commensal to the symbiosis between those two animals' relationship with one another. Even though we apply the term commensalist to symbiosis between those two animals, the nature of interaction is not exactly fitting of the term. As defined by Campbell and Rees, commensalism is when one organism receives benefit while neither harming nor helping the other in any significant way. Campbell and Rees, 2002. By looking closely at the behaviors, physiology, and symbiosis between Physalia and numerous crownbee, we find out the reason for this misleading terminology.
Awesome. Romelia, that's good. Okay, I really liked it. Romelia, that was fantastic. First of all, thumbs up. Yeah. I like how you just read, like you didn't stop to really try to figure out the perfect pronunciation, or when you made a mistake, you didn't freak out. You just kept going.
I was interested in the fluency, and yeah.
And it's important to practice that. Now, here's a question, Romelia. When you read this paragraph, in your brain, did you get any pictures of what's happening?
Somehow.
Yeah? So here's the trick, okay? And this is for everybody. So you want to read like Romelia. You want to read nice and fluently. And then when you're practicing at home, you also want to read it slowly and carefully and silently,
to catch the gist. Yeah.
And focus on the picture, focus on the visualization of the picture. So when you do that, and maybe for those people who were listening to you reading, they had more of a chance to kind of picture it and visualize it. You should create a picture, and I actually suggest, I mean, people think it's kind of silly because adults, they don't draw as much as children, which is kind of sad because drawing is such an incredible, amazing part of our abilities. But I even suggest at home, when you're practicing this kind of an IELTS passage, to draw a little picture. So here, you would draw a little picture like this. You would have this jellyfish, okay, for better lack of terms, and you have this fish. Hopefully everybody realized that there's a fish involved here as well, called the Nombius grombi.
Yeah, okay? Kind of immune reaction, a fish resistant to the poison.
Exactly, right? So you've got
I get the idea, the main idea, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got this jellyfish, and this jellyfish is very poisonous. So you've got the skull and the crossbones here, okay? So he's very poisonous, poison. Okay, but this jellyfish, or the fish, is kind of happy because he's got a resistance of 10 factor. So he's 10 times stronger against this poison than other fish. So they kind of have this agreement. So there's do you see what I'm drawing here, Romelia? Is that visible? Do you see what they're doing? This is the fish here. And do you see what they're doing here in the middle? What I drew there? They're shaking hands. They've got a kind of a handshake going. Right? So they've got an agreement. They're like, hey, let's work together. All right. So after reading this paragraph, you should kind of have this picture in your head that you've got this fish, you've got this jellyfish. This fish has a special relationship with this jellyfish, and they're kind of shaking hands. They're like, hey, we're kind of friends here a little bit. We work together. Okay, so that's at minimum. If you don't have that picture in your head, then you need to read and maybe use a dictionary, get some definitions, but you should reach at least this point of the jellyfish and the fish hanging out and shaking hands. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, Romelia, another question before, because you read the introduction. This is the introductory paragraph, and you want to be especially careful with the introductory paragraph. Why is that, Romelia? Why should you be especially careful when you read the introductory paragraph in an essay or a passage?
I'm not familiar with IELTS reading, but maybe because it has an impact on the whole reading if you get it wrong.
Exactly. Yes. So if you don't understand the introduction, the rest of it's not going to make much sense. It's kind of like a good analogy is missing the first 10 minutes of a movie, right? If you miss the first 10 or 15 minutes of a movie, sometimes it's really hard to figure out what is happening in the movie. You're like, oh, what? So that's why everybody rushes to get to the theater on time, right? Okay, Romelia, what is the most important sentence in the introduction or sentences?
I would say this one, due to this resistance to the venom and exception swimming, the two organisms have evolved to form a commensal relationship with one another.
No, but I like how you took a stab at it. No, it's not. When you write an essay, so a task 2 essay, in the introduction, I always emphasize this sentence as the most important sentence in the essay. Does that help? What is it? It has a special name. That sentence or those sentences have a special name. It's called starts with a T, it's the thesis, Romelia. Okay.
Oh.
The thesis statement. Every essay, especially a good essay, and IELTS essays are usually good essays, so every essay in the introduction will contain a thesis statement. Okay, the thesis statement is the main points and the argument of that essay or of that passage. Okay, a passage and an essay, it's the same idea. These are, this would be considered an expository type essay or a persuasive type essay. What is the thesis statement, Romelia, in this introduction?
Probably the sentence will make us to have an idea about the...
Read it for me. I'm underlining it for you right now. There. You should see it.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Can you read that for us one more time, please?
Yeah. By looking closely at the behavior, physiology, and symbiosis between Physalia and nomeusnomi, we find out the reason.
Okay. I think we lost Romelia's last couple of words there, but she got it, so that was the most part. Romelia, are you still there? I think maybe Romelia pushed a button or something on the phone or something in the web, but that's the thesis.
No, I'm here.
Okay,
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
So that's the thesis, Romelia. So that's the thesis. And this is extremely important, and this is why we don't want to rush, right? So what can we guess by this sentence? What can we understand about the passage?
That terminology misleads us.
Yeah,
sometimes.
And that we're going to read about the behavior, we're going to read about the physiology, and we're going to read about the symbiosis of the Physalia and the nomeusnomi.
Paying attention to these aspects, we are prone to find arguments and identify the real.
Exactly, and also it helps us to know where information is. So see here we have physiology, and then when we look at the next paragraph, if you look beside me here, this one starts with the physiology. So right away we can go, oh, okay, so that's connected to that, right? And then we realize that behavior is kind of in there too. So it allows us to make sense of the passage and organize the passage. The thesis kind of acts like a little index for the passage in many ways, right? We realize that first we're probably going to read about the Physalia because it's mentioned first in the thesis, and then we're going to read next about the nomeusnomi, and indeed that's the case. So we see that here we're reading about the physiology of the physalis, the jellyfish, and then later when we go down a bit, we realize that we start to read more about the nomeusnomi and its physiology. It says tropical fishes belonging to. So it gives us that organization so that we don't have to panic and search and try to skim read the whole passage for all of the ideas. Does that make sense, Romelia?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
yes.
All right. So really remember this, everybody, that these essays have a clear structure. They have a clear thesis. And as long as you're paying attention, it's not that terribly bad. You just have to really make sure that you're paying attention. Welcome, Senate, to our group of members. Romelia, thank you for volunteering. Hang in there for the
Thank
rest
you.
of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye for now. All right, everybody, give Romelia a thumbs up. That was really cool. She did some reading there. Yanni, you're up next. Are you ready? Domenico, I see you in there as well. Are you ready to read? Yanni. Senate, join us. If you're in the chat, if you're on the website, send me a message. You can do some reading as well. Just jump right in there. Okay, Yanni, here we go. Just jump right in there. Hi, Yanni, how are you?
Not very well. How about you?
I'm doing okay. I hope you feel better. Yanni, can you make sure to mute YouTube?
Okay, give me a second. Now is it fine?
Yeah, it's much better. Absolutely. We're not getting that second audio. Yanni, all right. Well, hopefully you'll feel a little bit better after some reading.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right. So, Yanni, whenever you're ready, just go ahead and start reading from the Physiology.
Okay. The physiology of chrysalis is unique. At first glance, they appear to be jellyfish, but the Portuguese man-of-war is actually a polyp, or community of polyps, belonging to the order Siphonophora, which gets its common name from its resemblance to an old Portuguese warship. The man-of-war floats with gas-filled blue-to-pink, translucent body called a pneumatophore, a part of a single polyp. This crest-like pneumatrope, which may attain a length of 20 cm, acts as a cell and is aligned so that the colony sails at 45 degrees to the wind direction. Polyps connect tentacles which are located on the ventral surface of the float. There are three types of specialist polyps: dactylocytes that find and catch prey with poisonous stingers called nematocysts, gonozoids that produce, and gastrozoids that digest the food, like a snowmutch. These fishing tentacles, sometimes as long as 50 meters, hang down a drift net combined with the water for the prey.
All right.
No,
stop there. Let's stop at that. That's one paragraph. So you always want to stop at one paragraph, Yanni, and then think about, okay, what is this paragraph? What do I see? Yanni, this paragraph, what is it mostly about that you just read?
The characteristic of jellyfish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's the topic sentence. Yeah, very good, Yanni. So, yeah, the topic sentence here, right? The physiology of the Physalia physalis. So it's the characteristics. It's what it looks like. What does it look like? What does this jellyfish look like? Look at this here. It looks like an old Portuguese warship, right? So it tells you in the middle here. It looks like an old Portuguese warship. And often, Yanni, in the IELTS exam, you will actually have, for this kind of a topic, a picture like this that we have. And you can even see the warship. So it's kind of like a boat with a sail like this. Okay, and then it's got this extra part below here that does all the the fishing, right? But it looks like a boat on the water with a sail. So it kind of explains this shape and what it has. Yanni, is it actually a jellyfish?
It seems like jellyfish. What?
It looks like it, but it's not a jellyfish. That's the crazy part of this creature. It's not a jellyfish. And it's not even one animal. It's not even one creature, but it's a group of creatures that float with this bubble. Okay. So, again, you want to understand at least this much. If you don't, then just keep reading it again. So you want to understand that it looks like a warship. And then it says that they're polyps. Polyp is a kind of like belongs to the family of jellyfishes or hydrozoa. Okay, polyps usually grow from the ground up. Sorry, Yanni, what country are you in again?
I'm from Indonesia.
From Indonesia, right? I thought I remembered that correctly. Okay, Indonesia, you have lots of jellyfish, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, so jellyfish are not as, I think you might even have Portuguese man-o-wars living there. So you have lots of jellyfish. Jellyfish are those creatures that they usually look round and they kind of float in the water and on top of the water like that. Okay. The jellyfish has a very close cousin. And do you go swimming in the ocean, Yanni?
It's been a long time.
Okay, but you've been in the ocean, and have you ever done snorkeling, like where you're looking at the fishes? Yeah, you've done some snorkeling?
I
Okay.
have tried snorkeling.
Okay, great. Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, Indonesia, I would definitely guess that you've done some snorkeling. When you do some snorkeling and you're in the water, at the bottom of the ocean, you sometimes see these what's called polyps. They look like almost like a plant. They kind of look like this. I'm going to draw a little picture here above my head. They kind of look like this. They grow from the bottom of the ocean. Have you ever seen these? Where they...
I have.
You have, right?
Yeah, in the bottom of the sea.
In the bottom of the sea, and they're usually attached to rocks or kind of somehow dug into the sand or something like that. And sometimes they have little arms coming out like this, like that, right? These are called polyps, and they're actually the cousin of the jellyfish, so they're closely related. And what this paragraph is telling us is that this creature, this Portuguese man-o-war, is not actually a jellyfish, but it's these polyps. And instead of being attached to the bottom of the ocean, they're attached to this bubble. So they've got this bubble here, and they're growing upside down, like that, from the body of that bubble. And there's 3 different kinds. One is used for eating the food, one is used for hunting the food, and one is used for reproduction. Okay, so quite an amazing creature, this Physalia physalis, because it's actually 3 creatures together. Okay, so that's what's really unique about this. It's not actually a jellyfish. You're looking at upside down polyps that are floating on top of the water. How amazing is that, Yanni?
Yes, sir.
Right? Quite amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's so wonderful.
It is. Nature is incredible. I'm hoping to make your day a little bit better, Yanni, by showing you the wonders of nature, right? If you're ever having a sad day, Yanni, just watch a good documentary like this one. Okay. All right. I hope you get better. I guess it's because you're feeling a little under the weather. Okay. So that's what you want to understand from this paragraph, Yanni, that, okay, we're looking at this unique creature or creatures that look like a warship, and it's a group of them. It's like 3 different little creatures all making up this boat or this ship that floats across the ocean. Quite an amazing creature indeed. All right, Yanni, thank you so much for reading that tricky but interesting paragraph. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the answer. Can I ask a little question?
You can ask me a big question even. Go for it.
How many times, when I'm in the reading test for visualizing the sentences?
So Okay, good question. So how should you go about visualizing, right? Ideally, so you don't want to stop every sentence and try to picture it, but you definitely want to have a picture at the end of the paragraph. So when you're at home, you want to practice, okay, I read a paragraph and then I get a kind of a complete picture of that paragraph. And again, Yanni, what I recommend, and this is for everybody, is take a pencil, actually draw a little picture, just a simple little stick picture of what that paragraph is. And then if you're doing it with a partner or in a class or with somebody, get them to draw a picture and see if your pictures are kind of similar. If they're not similar or if they look really different, then you have to figure out why. Somebody's not reading the paragraph correctly if you have very different looking pictures, okay?
Okay, I catch it, sir.
All right. Okay, Yanni, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And I hope you get
Thank
better.
you.
Drink lots of tea, okay? That's my
Yeah,
trick.
thanks for that, sir. It's such an honor for me.
Bye, Yanni.
Bye.
All right, that was Yanni. Let's give her a thumbs up. Let's send her some positive energy vibes for healing. I could tell that she's under the weather. She's kind of like where I was about 5-6 days ago. So I feel it. All right, let's see. Domenico. Domenico, we have a marine biologist with us, so it's a good person to have here. Domenico, are you ready to read this paragraph? Thanks for the thumbs up, everybody. I think Yanni's getting some positive vibes here. Senate, I see you in the chat. That's great. Volunteer. Try it with somebody else. Romelia or Yanni or somebody, try to help Senate to make sure that she's got a good connection, and or he, and I think it's a she, and make sure that they are able to volunteer. Okay, Domenico, here we go.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Domenico. How
Hello,
are you?
how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. I'm
So-
glad to see that you are on demand with your throat, because
Thank
I
you.
noticed that. Yeah, I noticed that you came down with a cold last week.
It was more than a cold, I tell you, Domenico. It was a
Yeah.
horrible flu, but yeah, I'm definitely
Yeah.
getting better now. All right, Domenico. So jellyfish and polyps. Are you familiar with these creatures?
Yes. So I know because they belong to the first of all, they belong to the film Cnidaria, and the class is Hydrozoa, which I had to deal with this species during my undergraduate years, as well as postgraduate years. So I know.
so this is like, I'm reading.
This reading is this text is in my neck of the wood.
Yeah, it reminds you of your university years. That's great. And
Yeah.
you're in Sicily, right, Domenico?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and
yes, I am.
I believe that you actually have Portuguese man of wars living around Sicily, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we have in the south, on the southern part of the island, on the southern side of the island, we can spot this type of jellyfish, which is dangerous because if one of its tentacles stings you, it can be lethal. It can be lethal.
I've
because
heard.
It can be lethal.
Yeah, what I heard is that for humans, this Portuguese man of war, if it stings the person, especially around the neck area, then
Around the neck, exactly.
Then it can create suffocation. So where the person can't breathe, they stop breathing because their neck swells up and they can't breathe anymore. So so you have to be careful with these jellyfish.
But
for sure.
there is that kind of fish, Naomius gromvi, which when nature has developed this kind of a commensalism, which is a kind of symbiosis where two organisms cooperate together, but only one of the two derives benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's not us humans and the jellyfish, that's for sure. All right, all right, Domenico. When you're ready, can you please read this paragraph here for us, the Namvias granvai? Okay, go for it.
Namvias granvai is Namvias granvai, a tropical fish belonging to the ray finned fishes of the class of Osteoichthyes. The fins supported by long flexible rays are modified for maneuvering, defense, and other functions. The length of this fish at maturity is about 8 centimeters. The nature of the ability of Noemus to live among the venomous tentacles of Physalia has been linked to that of the relationship between sea anemones and anemones species. The immunity is not yet fully understood. That's no.
Okay, good. All right. So, Domenico, in this one, when we picture this information, right? Hopefully, what we see is we kind of see this Portuguese man.
Yeah, it's a kind of fish. So this paragraph describes the features of this tropical fish. So it has a ray finned. It has random things which are flexible, of course, and they can reach the length of 8 centimeters, and they have
living with the jellyfish in the tentacles, right? So
yeah,
they kind of swim around.
Yeah, exactly. It swims around the tentacles of this jellyfish, of this poisonous jellyfish, and so it's a kind of commensalism, because this fish actually gets food from the prey that this jellyfish catches when this animal is transported by the currents.
Exactly, right? And also protection. Yeah. So it also gets protection from other predators.
Yeah, to fend off prey.
Exactly.
To fend off predators. Sorry.
And it makes this comparison of anemones and anemone fishes, right? Because if anybody's ever watched those nice documentaries about corals and the coral reefs, then we remember, and of course that Disney movie, Finding Nemo. I don't know if anybody's watched Finding Nemo, but you have the anemones. The anemones are kind of like polyps in a sense, and you've got the clownfish that live with these. So it's kind of a similar type of idea here. All right, Domenico, thank you so much for sharing your insights and a bit of that biology. I hope you have an awesome rest of your day, and definitely if you're ever visiting Domenico in Sicily, pay attention to the Portuguese man of war in the Mediterranean. They're dangerous, right?
Yeah, it's dangerous. Thank you, sir.
Bye, Domenico. All right, let's give Domenico a thumbs up. Carolina sharing some fish emojis, some potentially poisonous fish there, the fugu fish. Carolina, definitely. All right, let's see who else is here. Chen. Good to see you there. Are you ready to volunteer? Chen, if you're there, if you're getting my message, let's do this. All right. Yash, Manmeet. Senate, I'm still waiting to see if you're there. I'm going to send you a message here in a second. All right, Chen. Hello, Chen. Do you hear me? Can I hear you? I really want to connect, hear your voice. I don't hear you, Chen. Can you check your microphone? Make sure you enabled it for the website. If you're hearing me through YouTube, it's better if you hear me through the website, not through YouTube. I'm not sure. Chen, are you in China? Because if you are, you might have to use a VPN. China doesn't like to work or doesn't like to play well with chat programs like WhatsApp, Skype, or our website. All right, Chen, try to figure that out. So try to connect with somebody else, and I'll definitely circle back to you at some point, okay? Senate, I'm going to send you a message. I know you haven't volunteered, but you're a new member, and I'm going to see if you're there. Are you there, Senate? Or seen it? I'm not sure. I'd love to learn how to pronounce your name as well. And I know you just joined our group of members, so I'm going to try to reach out to you, seen it. Okay. Oh, and Caroline is saying Slow Sunset Vibes is Joao on the website. Okay, Joao, I see you there. Seen it, let me know. Send me a message back if you're seeing my message. Meanwhile, I'm going to reach out to Joao. Yes, Joao, I always forget that you're Slow Sunset Vibes. Are you ready? Joao, if you're there, let me know. We'll do a paragraph here. Yeah, if you're a member and you're using a different handle on the website than on YouTube, let me know so I can make the connection. Otherwise, or let Carolina know so that she can tell me. Okay. All right.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Joao. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Joao, can you tell me again which country you're in?
Yeah, I'm from Portugal.
That's what I thought, right? So yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, Joao's from Portugal. So you're probably like, okay, I know what Adrian's gonna say. We're reading about the Portuguese man of war, right? So have you ever seen a Portuguese man of war, Joao?
I'm not sure, but I think I don't think I have seen one yet.
No. Are you close to the coast? Are you near the sea, or are you in the mainland of Portugal?
More in the center. Yeah, more towards the center.
Are you in the capital?
No.
You're not in
close
Lisbon, right?
to the capital, though.
Okay.
No.
All right. So you haven't been to the ocean enough, I guess, to see these Portuguese men. I'm like 99% sure that you have them because they live in the Mediterranean, and they live in the warmer waters of the Mediterranean, these Portuguese men of war. So I think my grandpa got stung one time when he was doing a vacation there. But anyway, so you got to check them out, Joao, so you got to, they bear your country's name, so you got to know them. It's a must. It's a must. You have to catch one. All right, Joao, so can you read a paragraph for us, please, starting with the relationship between physalia?
Okay, sir. The relationship between physalia and nomias is arguably harmful to both organisms. They mutually benefit from one another, but at the same time, the symbiosis can be quite damaging to both creatures. In this sense, the relationship could be better defined as one of mutualism and parasitism. In mutualism, both organisms benefit. In parasitism, one organism benefits at the expense of the host.
Okay, good. This short paragraph, what is it mostly talking about here?
It's kind of describing how they harm one another, but they can also benefit from one another as well.
Yeah, so it's trying to make sense of this relationship. Absolutely, I agree. Okay, read the next paragraph as well, please.
Okay, sir. When the nomius is weak, it may no longer be able to withstand the venom of the nematocysts. In one study, a freshly expired nomius was offered to the physalia. The carcass was immediately stung, taken hold of by a dactylozoid, and brought up to the gastrozoids. The Nomius, although resilient to the toxic, is not 100% immune. In the same study, the live Nomius began to swim more erratically and move towards the carcass as the gastroids formed their characteristic bag and began to digest the fish. The live Nomius was then caught on the left side by one of the largest dactylozoids. This behavior clearly indicates how the symbiosis may deviate from the definition provided by commensalism.
Okay, so what is this paragraph about?
It's describing how they react to the toxin.
How the fish, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if we look at this carefully, and this is why I got you to read both of these paragraphs so far, we can see that this short paragraph introduces this idea that, okay, they benefit, but they also get harmed, right? And then this next paragraph actually explains the harm that can happen. So what's the harm that can happen to the fish? The Nomius.
He begins to swim more erratically. I'm not sure if that's it.
Okay. I mean, hopefully that's the only problem that happens. But here in the beginning it says the Nomius was offered to the Physalia. The carcass was immediately stung, taken hold of, and brought up to the gastrozoids. So the jellyfish actually eats it once it gets old. Right? So
okay.
It's a sad reality, but once the fish is old and doesn't swim all that quickly, then the jellyfish is like, finally, I've been protecting you for so long and feeding you. Now you're a fat old little fish. I'm just going to eat you because you can't swim anymore. So then the jellyfish just kind of eats the old Nomius that's not able to, he gets it all back. All right. So that's what it's telling us here. And then so there were two fish here. The other fish that was younger and still a good swimmer started to freak out. It's like, hey, that jellyfish just ate grandpa, and started to get a little bit crazy, started to swim more erratically. Yeah, erratic swimming means like random or kind of a freaked out kind of swimming, right? Yanni says it's sad, really. It's such as nature. Nature is unforgiving, as they say. Okay, Joao, read the next one for me. You'll see why in a second, why I'm getting you to read the next one as well. But read it here from On the Other Hand.
On the other hand, the Nomius has two distinct gains from its innate behavior with Physalia. As an experiment demonstrated upon introduction, the Nomius initially swam near the surface and around the Physalia in a large circular pattern in both clockwise and counterclockwise directions. This action protects the fish from attack. Most predatory fishes of Nomius therefore avoid the man of war or sustain serious injury and often death. Second, the Physalia provides a food source for the Nomius. In the mentioned experiment, about 15 minutes after the release, the Nomius swam closer to the Physalia, paused as if inspecting it, and then began to nip the edges of the gonozoids. Physalia is able to generate the tentacles, and so this ingestion is rarely fatal to the organism.
Okay, so what did you read in this paragraph, Joao?
I'll have to do a skim read because whenever I read out loud, I'm more focused on the
fluency,
actual
right?
words rather than
exactly.
Yeah, it's a bit hard to do both.
That's why I always tell people, like, you should read aloud to improve your fluency, and then you should read silently and visualize to improve your comprehension, and then put the two together. So after you do that with each paragraph, go back to the beginning of the passage and read it all, right? So go ahead, do a little bit of skim reading. Tell me what you discover.
So the first thing is that they mentioned that there's two distinct gains from Physalia.
Yeah. So, and to paraphrase that, there's two benefits, right? There's two benefits.
Two benefits. Yes.
What are those benefits?
So the first one is that he swims near the surface, and this action, this swimming, protects the fish from attack.
Yeah, from other fishes, right? So
exactly, yeah.
And what's the second one?
And the second one, it provides a food source for the fish. Yeah.
Okay, well, what does the fish do? How does it provide a food source? It actually eats the jellyfish, or not eats it, but eats pieces of it, right? So those gonozoids that are not poisonous, the non-poisonous tentacles, must be a very smart fish. It knows which ones are poisonous, which ones aren't. So the tentacles that aren't poisonous, because there's 3 kinds of polyps, right? We read earlier that there's 3 types of polyps. One is used for attack. Those are the poisonous ones. One is a type of polyp that actually helps to digest the food for all of the other ones, and then one is the reproductive polyp. So it eats it. So what an amazing relationship between this fish and this group of polyps, right? That you have this fish, when it gets old, the man-o-war is able to eat the fish, but then the fish is also eating, so they eat each other. So it's like the little non-vious fish is actually in a weird way eating its own grandpa. What do you think about that, Joao?
That's very, very sad.
Very sad, right? But I mean, it's not really its grandpa, because grandpa's being turned into a part of the jellyfish, right? But but it's an interesting cycle of life. That's for sure. Yeah, that they figured out there. Nature's incredible, right? So yeah, they eat each other basically at different parts of, or different times in their life. When the fish is young and maneuverable, it eats parts of the jellyfish. When it's old, it gets eaten by the jellyfish. So that's what happens. All right. Well, Joao, I'm sure now that you've learned more about this exciting man-o-war, you'll at some point go to the beautiful coast of Portugal and search for this creature so that you can tell all your friends about it, right?
Definitely, yeah.
All right. And for those, do you surf, Joao?
No. It's okay. I mean, I have some. I really would like to try, but I mean, it's hard.
Well, pay attention to those Portuguese man-o-wars when you're surfing. That's a lot of surfers get hit by these guys. All right, Joao, have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you so much for reading for us. Hang in there.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye for now.
Bye, sir.
All right, that's Joao, Portugal, right from the source of where this incredible animal gets its name, right? Okay, let's do this. So for the next little bit, I'm going to read these last 2 paragraphs for you, and then we'll get to some questions, okay? Here we go. So non-vious capacity. Read with me. Don't just listen to me. Read with me and apply the strategies that we've been using in the class so far. So visualization and thinking about what we're reading about. So non-vious capacity to survive near the poisonous tentacles of the man-o-war is only partly due to the resilience of the toxin. The main reason for this skill is certain swimming behaviors. Instead of developing protective mucus, the fish depends on its swimming abilities as its main mechanism of defense while living in the venomous discharge of the physalia. The non-vious fish can maneuver with precision to avoid stinging nematocysts. This is the case whether the physalia is stationary or in motion. Rayfin fishes have a physiology which enables maneuverability. The fish displays relative ease in maintaining a safe distance from the dactylozoids, even with absurd sharp changes in direction. Non-vious specimens use the pectoral fins for propulsion, while the pelvic fins are spread like a fan. The caudal fin is apparently used for only short, fast darts. This swimming behavior appears to be well suited for existence with physalia. It is therefore apparent that rather than developing an ability to inhibit the discharge of physalia nematocysts or prevent them from stinging, non-vious uses its swimming abilities as its primary means of defense while living in the venomous drift net of physalia. What did I read? I read about the swimming ability of the Nombius and its physiology, so its body type that allows for this incredible swimming behavior. And although the Nombius is resistant to the poison, it's more this amazing swimming ability that gives it the symbiotic possibility with Physalia. Taking into consideration all of the interactions involved in the symbiotic relationship of these two organisms, the appropriate term to assign is difficult. The facts state that the commensalism of these two aquatic creatures is one which incorporates beneficial as well as harmful factors depending on the circumstance. It is this alternation of prey-predator roles of Physalia and Nomius that creates a definitive difficulty. Perhaps the best term we can apply for the moment is that of commensalism, given that both animals receive some benefit at varying times during the relationship. Okay, so what I read about here is the conclusion. The conclusion is focusing on this relationship between these two incredible creatures, or group of creatures in the case of the Physalia. Basically the conclusion says, hey, you know, it's hard to say that they're mutualistic. It's hard to say they're parasitic. They both benefit and not at different times. So let's just call it commensalism, depending on the time. And it seems like the time depends on the age of the fish. Young fish, they do well with the Physalia. They can even eat it. Old Nombius fish, they don't do so well. They tend to get eaten. So that's how it works. All right, let's take a look at the question. Okay. Then we'll go through the answers here. So, number 27, and when you read a passage, everyone, and you understand it, at least 70-80%, you can answer all the questions in the IELTS reading. IELTS is not your university biology exam. They're not going to ask you very difficult questions. The last couple questions might be trickier because they're band 8, band 9, but most of them are not too bad. They're kind of like middle school, high school level, as long as you understand, okay? So number 27, I bet if you think carefully, you will be able to figure this out without any reading, now that we read this with a lot of detail. So number 27, everyone, members, the Portuguese man of war's something acts as both defense and an attack mechanism. Okay. What is it? So the Portuguese man of war is what? Acts as a defense and an attack. It should be, there's a couple answers here actually that IELTS will accept for this question. They're synonyms, but they're mentioned, both of them, so either one will work. Okay, if you have a perfect synonym in the IELTS, they will accept it. There's two words here, they have the exact same meaning. And if you're thinking with a calm, cool head, you should be able to answer this. You definitely should not have to search the text. You would find this in the introduction, by the way. Usually many of the answers do come in the order of the passage, but you don't have to read the passage again. So go ahead, members, let me know. What do you think this is? What goes into this space here? Okay, again, you should not have to read for this. So the Portuguese man of war is the Physalia, right? That's the common name for it. Most people just call it the man of war. So Romelia, it's not the Nombius. So it's not the fish. It's not the fish. It's the Physalia, the Portuguese man of war, usually just called the man of war. Good guess, Romelia, but pay attention to the subject, not the fish, but the jellyfish. Chen says the tentacles. Not a bad guess, but you want to be more specific, Chen, than tentacles. Okay, because there's different kinds of tentacles, and not all of the tentacles act as a defense or an attack. What specifically does this jellyfish, this Portuguese man of war, use as the attack or the defense? It's a little bit simpler. And this is what I mean. Like sometimes I think the issue or the difficulty that IELTS candidates have is that they overthink it. And then when they realize what the answer is, like, oh, I should have just kept it simple, right? Romelia, very good. Yeah, exactly. And don't be, yeah, Yanni, very good. It's either venom or poison. They're perfect synonyms. They mention both. The IELTS examiner will take both, venom or poison. Okay, very good. Yeah, venom, poison. And then once you have the answer, read it and you'll see it makes sense. The Portuguese man of war's venom acts as both a defense and an attack, right? So it can attack a fish with its venom and it can defend itself with its venom or its poison, like from humans, from that surfer that's about to crush the poor little thing with its surfboard. I surf. Hopefully not. Don't crush these. All right. Nombius, it's the fish, has a something to the man of war's attack. So here I'm looking for a verb. Okay. Has a what? Looking for a noun verb here, to be more specific. Something that would be a verb and a noun. Has a something to the attack. What is it? Nombius has a defense mechanism. Yep, Romelia, not a bad guess. Okay. Let's keep it even more simple. Yanni, not injections. Again, think simple, students. So the first couple of letters are R-E-S. Not a response, but nice try, Romelia. Keep it simple. So they mention this again several times in the passage. It's not just once, but several times they mention this in the article. They say, well, while the Nombius is not immune to the man of war's attack, the Nombius does have a kind of... Okay, and if you're skim reading for this again, you're going to be in trouble. It'll be hard to find, so it's better if you can think about it. Next letter is an I. If I give you this one, I bet you somebody will get it right away. They'll be like, yes, of course. That's right, Chen. It's resistance. It's not immune, right? So, but it has a resistance. Anybody remember that level of resistance? It's a factor of 10, right? It's 10 times resistant. Okay. Number 29, everybody should get this one. This is a give me. Nombius is also a very competent something. Competent means very good at it or very smart, which helps keep it safe from the man of war. Nombius is also a very competent... Romelia, immunity would be good for number 28. They would take immunity as well. Has a type of immunity. It's not fully immune though, right? So you got to be careful. I would use the word resistance, Romelia, because it's not completely immune, right? It can get poisoned if it gets stung enough. So resistance. But number 29, I'm hoping everybody will get this one. Nombius is also a very competent, again, keep it simple. Don't overthink it. So very good. The Nombius is the fish, right? So it's a very competent. Yes, Chen, be confident. Always be confident in your answers. It's a very competent swimmer. Yes, it can swim very well. It's a very competent swimmer, which helps keep it safe from the man of war. Joao, I love the tropical fish. It's a very competent tropical fish. It's a smart tropical fish. No, it's a very competent swimmer. It's competent is like capable. Think about it as like capable. Okay, it's another way to say competent. Competent, capable swimmer. Okay, students, we've got some more questions here for you, 10 more to be exact. Although they initially look like a jellyfish, the man of war is really a something. You'll probably get that now. The role of the something is as a sexual organ, so the reproductive organ. Nombius's ability to live around the poisonous something of the man of war is not fully understood. Okay, and then you've got sentence completion here. The relationship between the two creatures is best described as, while the Nombius is resistant to the venom, it is something. Hint, hint, Romelia, you kind of had the answer for that. The Nombius's swimming patterns and for the Nombius. So you have to complete it with one of these 9 choices. And students, I'm not going to rush through these because my goal for this class was for you to practice your reading and to have comprehension. You can test that by answering these questions and then sending your answers to my email. Okay, so members, I highly recommend doing this. If you have access to our premium course, you can find the material and the audio. If not, just watch the YouTube video again and pause it during the different parts of the reading, okay? And then send the answers to adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com, and I'll send you the answer key. I'll let you know what the answers were. Yes, polyp is one of the answers, Joao. You are right. So Joao's like, I'll give you guys a hint here. One of the answers is polyp. That's correct. One of the answers is polyp. So hint, hint. Figure out the rest of them. Email them to me. Okay. Read the passage again. Have fun with it. Now that you understand it, read it again. And again, everybody, you can find all of our exams and videos, and you can interact with other students on the websites, aehelp.com, glshelp.com. We will be using aehelp.com next class for our listening audio. Okay. And again, the way that you sign up for the websites is by clicking the big red buttons there or there at the end of the video. Okay, members, thank you so much for being here with me. Carolina, thank you for assisting in the chat with the instructions. That's great. And I'll be back in 30 minutes. With listening practice and strategy for parts 3 and parts 4 of the listening test. Chen, you are most welcome. All right, students, so see you back here in
welcome to academic
half an hour. Okay, stretch your legs, learn a little bit more about jellyfish. And I look forward to helping you master English and IELTS a bit more. See you shortly. I'm Adrian, signing out from Victoria for now. Bye.